All right, welcome back to Modg Podcast, where we bring you facts, not speculation, and not narratives.
Facts.
We've been gone for far too long, but welcome back, Will. Welcome back, Swift. Sorry we left y'all with nothing to do, nothing to watch, but we had to go get the inside information or as close as possible. We went all the way down to the bottom of the map to Mobile, Alabama. Matter of fact, Will made two trips for y'all. He was in Dallas at the Shrine Bowl, getting it cracking a week before we got down to Mobile, and crossed over to meet us in Mobile to get it cracking. And so we can meet and greet, network, and get as much information as we can. Swift was on the field, as his name says, swift as possible, getting every interview he could possibly get. I think he had, if they put a record up, if they put a tab up, he had to beat every interviewer out there because he was boom, boom. He was in and out. Two questions, boom, boom. You should have seen the man. The man was weaving. He looked like he was playing on the field.
Hey, Bill couldn't keep up with me out there. He would be like, all right, I'm gonna be taking pictures of you when you get the interview. And like after the second interview, he'd be like, hey, I just started taking pictures of players because I would, bro. Like we'd be splitting like this corner.
Right.
We had from the 30-yard line and back, and we couldn't cross the far hash. So it's like a quarter of the field kind of. And like players are crossing that line and they're just media just swarming them. And I'm just ducking in and I'm just putting my phone up and waiting, getting my one or two questions, boom, going to another player. Because we only had 10 minutes after each practice, like 10 minutes and they're ringing the bell and you got to go. I think I got at least 15 minutes out of every one though.
Absolutely. And
I stretched it.
Right. When I finally got down there and decided to take my chances in it because I just don't do good in crowds and I'm swimming through and I'm just a field person. I like to be on the field. I like to see what new fields look like, what their grass is like. So I'm just admiring the views. And I finally get to Ryan Flournoy, who's a hometown guy out of Hazel Crest, and interviewed him finally. And it was fun. The one person that made it natural, though, made it look good is Will. So Will,
tell him, Will,
how do you do it, man? You were swimming through that thing like a shark.
Well, the biggest thing is just going through, first of all, understanding the individuals that were there, their talents, their skill sets, and then just giving them that comfort that, look, you have the capability not only for the team that we support with the Bears, but to compete at all 30, with all 32 teams that were out there scouting them, and understanding that that's their dream. The one thing that I do very well is I make it about the individual. And that's one thing that, Bill, you do a great job of, and Swift, you do a great job of. Like, we made it about them. Like, when we were talking to the guys from USC, we were making it about them. Marshawn Lower, Brendan Rice. We made it about them because ultimately this is the opportunity for them to showcase their talent, their skill sets, their abilities to go to the next level. And you saw how the coaches, the scouts was gravitating to us as well. And it was just a fun experience being there with you guys, good home-grown Bear fans, and also just, content creators that were about business, that wasn't about narratives, that wasn't about, being self-centered, selfish. It was about the overall mission of what we went down there for, and that in itself just made it all the worthwhile.
Absolutely. And the crazy part is the road that we took to get there. Like, just like I was saying before, Will starting off in Dallas and then rolling over to Mobile. I'm starting from Chicago, drive down to Cincinnati to meet Swift. We took 20 minutes to pack the rental, then hit the road again. We was nonstop other than gas all the way down to Mobile. Barely slept that first night and got up to go get the credentials. How was you feeling that first day, Swift?
I thought so. We were both so tired by the end of the trip, and Bill powered through on the way down. He did most of the driving because I'm not good once it gets dark. I told him straight up, like, I'm a great driver, but when it gets dark and those lights start hitting my eyes, I got sensitive eyes. It's not my best time. And Bill powered through, but we were both an hour away, I feel like both of us could have just crashed and been out for the night. But by the time we got to the hotel at like what, 2 a.m., 3 a.m.,
2:33,
2:33, somewhere around there. Like we were both so like re-energized, and knowing we had to get up at about 7:38 to go get the credentials and get on the field by practice at 9:30. We didn't sleep. I think we slept maybe an hour or two, and then I was like, you know what? We're gonna pass out tonight, right? We created a bunch of content, and Will ended up passing out, but I had a hard time sleeping that night too. I don't know what it was, but we didn't get a lot of sleep down there, but we had a ball. It was great meeting Will too. Like Will showing up down there the last day, strutting like, hey, we know who that man is.
Hey man, he had the aviator lenses, the Lokes. He was doing his thing, looking like a superstar. Matter of fact, he was on the other side where we don't even belong. He was over with the superstars and the executives and things like that. He was over with
Ryan Poles and the agents, and he called me and he's like, "Where you guys at?" Told me where he was at, and I was like, "You're not here. Are you on the other side?" And he's like, "Maybe." And I look over, and like from 50 yards away across, I just see one guy like this. He's got on like this camouflage coat, just walking like this. I'm like, hey, look, I smacked Phil. I'm like, that's Will right there, bro. Look at him.
I'm setting up the camera, right? So I'm doing everything. I'm trying to get good pictures. I'm hearing Swift because he on the phone with you. And he like, man, he over there. He say, he dapping up everybody. Everybody in the patch.
I just see this. Everybody he walks by. Hey, what up, dog? What up? Hey, what up? What up? Hey, what up, dog? I'm like, does he know everybody over there?
Man, like, I'm telling you.
And that's the beautiful part about it. Like when you have those true connections, you really can't compromise that. You know, when people that believe in you, trust in you. And that's why I love what we're doing. We're building something special, because when you look at other outlets, they put so much negative rhetoric and so much rhetoric out there that has no validity. Like they don't have any supporting evidence, no supporting documentation, but they're doing it for clicks. Like we actually have relationships. And then to take it a step further, the relationships we develop with the kids, from Cam Kitchens, like Xavier Leggett, Jaheim Bell,
Corley, talking to all those, even Jackson Powers Johnson. That guy was one of the smoothest interviewers I've seen.
Absolutely, but the thing is, they love what we were providing, and not only just talking X's and O's and talking their measurements and things like that, but also just showing that we were interested in them being successful in the next chapter of their lives. Like we actually developed a relationship with these guys to the point where it's like, hey, when I get to the next level, I'm going to reach back to y'all and give you a hearty thanks, because the stuff that we were giving them, like a lot of these other content creators, they weren't doing that. Like we were actually on the field, in the locker room, post conference, really giving them insight of how to prepare for the next level, but also how, if so luckily a couple of them ended up in the Shy, they would fit the structure of what we're doing. And like when I tell you all, it was just a beautiful setting. Like all of our energy was great. Like words can't describe what we embarked upon.
Yeah, and speaking of interview questions, Swift was killer with the interview questions, and a lot of times he was just coming off the rip. Like it was just sweet science. Like I could tell because I had got us some lavalier mics, right? So I could connect it to my camera, and then I could put my headphones into it. So he's walking around, and even when I can't see him, I can hear him talking, and he's like gathering thoughts in his head, and his questions, like I could hear the first part that like he was thinking and talking to himself, but like he wouldn't get it all out. But as soon as he got to the person, boom, it was like this dope combination of boom, boom, boom questions, and he was boom in and out, next person. And they were so thorough, they were so thoughtful. There wasn't the basic, what do you like to do in an offense, or as a teammate, what is your, like, I think you even got to Brandon Rice, and the typical question he's getting is about Caleb.
Caleb, yeah. And that, the worst was when I got to Liatu Latu, because he was one of the most popular players. I never got to him on the field because I saw him on the field one time, but he had like 25 people surround him. I was like, that'll waste my whole 10 minutes trying to get in there. But when I got him in the media day, I had to stand there for a few minutes and wait my turn, and all I'm hearing, just a barrage of questions: neck injury, medical question, injury. How are you going to be in the NFL with that injury? What was your first thought after that injury? How long after that injury until you decided you wanted to play again? What was it like after that injury getting back onto the field? Is that a concern going into the NFL? And I'm just like, is anyone going to ask him about anything other than this injury? So that's why I immediately, when I asked him, I told him straight up, like, first thing I said, you're a blue chip prospect, one of the best edge rushers out here. And he like shook my hands like, thank you. And like, I knew I had his attention at that point. And then I asked him, what did you want to show the scouts? And I admit I was kind of generic with it, because that's I asked a lot of people pretty much that same question, because one thing, I wasn't prepared as a media, like, journalist. I was prepared to scout these players, and that's what I do. I was trying to watch every snap and get as much information on the players as possible. But when it came to like being a journalist, I wasn't prepared on that end. But I think I did a good job asking them open-ended questions and letting them explain themselves.
He's being modest. I got to hear it like directly, and Swift is a very humble person. Will is not. He knows he's dope, and he's going to tell you he's dope. But I'll go ahead and toot his horn. He came in, and you all know how Swift's videos are. They're very thorough. He does his research. He doesn't lie. He doesn't make up stats or things of that nature. So he led with facts about these guys, like deep stats into these guys, and then said, hey, you're my favorite, whatever the position was. Hey, you're on my list of, you're on my hot. Like, it was always something to compliment the person with an actual factual stat, instead of just saying, hey, you're the center for Oregon that people are saying should go in the first round. How do you feel about that? Like, he's literally hitting them with things that generally the people that are super interested in them, would ask. Let me be honest with you. I'm a goofball. If you watch my videos, if you see me on Twitter, I'm a goofball. I love it. My wife loves it. We good to go. People who follow me, they like to laugh. I like to make them laugh. So I was asking Ryan Flournoy, Harold's Chicken or Uncle Remus, you know what I'm saying, right off the bat. And he just died laughing. You know what I'm saying? He's like, where did that come from? Because he's not hearing that, and a lot of people tell me, when I come on your show, I watch your show, they laugh at different things. They like my icebreakers, but people that don't watch the show and hear about how my setup is, they're always like, nobody wants to talk about that. Nobody wants to hear that. And you would be surprised. You get up to these players, you ask them what's their favorite meal. Are they missing home? What they miss about home. Where would they, what's the best weather for? You don't ask them what team they want to go to, because obviously that's going to affect their rankings. If your show is big enough to be seen, like a Swift, like me, ain't nobody going to pay attention to my show. If Swift asks it, somebody going to watch it, and somebody going to pick up on him saying he wants to only go to this place. And so, great questions. Even Will at the Shrine Bowl, with believe Malik Washington and a few others, and he was getting around the super celebs. He was, taking pictures with Rice, with Mike. Right, yeah, right. We couldn't yell at Poles. Swift walked clean around the building in the stands and couldn't get to him. Will pops up at the Shrine Bowl day one, like, boop. I just sat and talked to Ryan Poles.
He told me what he did, though. He stocked out like there was this one corridor they had to walk down in order to get to the bathroom food area. And Will kind of just, hung out there. I mean, if I would have been on that side Will was on, I would have done the same thing. But I did try. Bill saw it. Like, I was at the north side of the end zone. I was basically just walking back and forth sometimes trying to find the one-on-ones to watch. And I saw Poles coming around the corner. And I was like, oh, that's Ryan Poles. So I tried to yell at him, and he did a little like he waved his hand up, and I missed it. I didn't have my camera ready, and I was like, oh. So I ran all the way 100 yards through people because Poles is power walking down the sideline. I'm higher up. I'm doing it in the stands, and I get to Ville. I get there before Poles does. Poles is about the 15-yard line when I make it 100 yards downfield. I'm like, here comes Poles. When he gets here, we're going to record it, and we're going to get him saying what's up. And we had it ready. We were set up. Poles, like, he keeps walking. He's at about the 12, 11, 10, stops, turns. Never takes another step that way for like an hour. He just stood there with Ian Cunningham, and then he went back the other way. He never came that way. I was just like, you know what?
Poles did Swift like, if you ever play fantasy football and you got that one guy that you need that touchdown and they're bleeding the clock out and they run, they're at the 10, 9, 8, he's going to score. And he just slides at the 2 and does nothing else, goes to the sideline, starts taking his pads off. I was like, man, we were so close. It was wild. But we met a lot of great people, networked with a lot of great podcasters, media. Me and Swift was able to interview Clay Harbor. But in the same pack or pool where we're at, Will Wright was talking to Nicholas Moriano, and we had Ryan Wilson from CBS. Yeah. I'm sorry, Swift. Yeah, so it was so many people that we had. Jacob Littner from Littner Media, Ephraim, the Bears Essential. I'm trying to remember everybody and shout them out. Brian from
Stats was there. Chicago Football Connect. A lot of dudes I've met on Twitter as well.
Yeah, Chicago State of Mind.
People. Yep. Mm-hmm.
So we just want to shout them out because we networked with them. We shook their hands. We took pictures. We laughed. We joked. We talked about collabing, and immediately, like Will has been hitting us up. Like the people that he's met are ready to collab. People hitting me up. People hitting up Swift. And so Will hit us last night. I missed the message. That's my fault. And Swift hit me today because he knows how I work. Once I get home, it's work time. And he's like, bro, you want to jump in? I'm like, I'm down, man. I'm still on the high. I still ain't rested as much as I should. My wife, actually, we tag team this travel thing. I got home and she was taking my suitcases. I unpacked them. She put clothes in them, and now she's down in New Orleans at a business conference.
And she's watching and she in the chat.
Right, before she go out and get drunk,
I gotta ask her if she's seen how you rolled out. He military. So first off, Ville was already too organized, but then he bought a bunch of stuff for his kids, and then he military rolls everything up in his suitcase. He spends like 3 hours doing this, and he's like, "Look, I got more room now." And meanwhile, I'm over here like this. I'm taking shirts and I'm just stuffing them in. I'm like, clean clothes in this one, dirty clothes in this one. Boom, boom. I'm out.
Hey, don't talk about that in front of my wife because she only sees that every once in a while. So she might send me a message after this and say, "Go upstairs and fix the bedroom."
You packing my stuff next, boy.
Right. We'll know about that organization, that military clean.
Oh, for sure. But like what Swift just said, that's the life of a scout though. They have clothes just rolled up, put in it, like all the scouts I was talking to, like. That's how they travel when they're on the road, going from college to college. You know what I'm saying? Profiling these different players. So, hats off to all the scouts for all 32 teams because, that job, that's a full-time job in itself. So, to really sit and pick the brain of these guys and look at what they're looking at as far as, for the organization, like it's very neat to understand the process, to understand, what capability are we looking for in a certain player? Because, man, everybody we profile and talk to down at either the Senior Bowl or the Shrine Bowl, they feel a need that we're looking for. So I'll be thoroughly impressed with a lot of the guys that we got a chance to watch up close and personal and really got to know them in addition to their stats and talking about how they're mentally and emotionally getting ready for the NFL. I'm going to be excited for a lot of these guys. And I hope a lot of them end up with us come April.
Yeah,
Hey,
absolutely.
your Cam Kitchens interview was the stuff. That's the guy right there.
Bro, you know what? The one thing I like about Cam, like even in the game, he told me he was upset because, near the end of the game, one of the guys got an interception and returned all the way back to the one. And he was fighting with
Smith
the
Wade.
coach. Yeah, Smith Wade. He was fighting. He's like, man, I need to get back in there.
Chicagoland's finest.
I need to get back in there because I need to make a play. Like, to see that type of tenacity and fire. And when the game was over, I think it was 16-7. But he wanted to go out there and continue showcasing his skill set, his drive, his passion. And those are the type of players that we need on our squad that stay hungry for 60 minutes, bro. Like he was like realistically, he had nothing else to prove. He got pro day coming up in the combine, but he still wanted to go out there and show. Guess what? I'm like,
most of the guys didn't even play in that. Shoot,
they didn't. They didn't. They just showed up and smiled and kissed babies. And at the end of the day, again, a lot of them they were talking with us and saying like, "Look, we glad you out here supporting us." Like Spencer Rattler, he made some money in the Senior Bowl, but now I got to see what he does on his pro day and in the combine. Because
that's a quarterback. Yeah, that's the one quarterback who did pretty well out there with Spencer Rattler.
Yeah, he did because the other ones, like Bubba Dub say, trash.
It was bad, and we was over there for all the drills in the corner. Both corners, both times we would move with the offense. It took me till Thursday to get any defensive pictures or clips, but it was bad. They were sailing passes for a while. It was a little windy, but it was sunny and nice. It was definitely better than being in the north and in Chicago weather. And they were sailing passes, short passes, just throwing them
all over the place. Yeah,
right. There's a lot of scrambling. Like, how you scrambling in the practice?
Yeah, Sam Hartman did that. So they were doing 7-on-7s, and Sam Hartman, there's no pass rush, and he scrambled on like 6 straight reps, and I'm like, that's not by design. Someone's like, that might be by design. I was like, no, the quarterbacks were going in rotation. Like Michael Penix would do it, and he wouldn't scramble once. He would throw 7 passes. And then in would come Bo Nix, throw 7 passes. Sam Hartman comes in, he's tucking and running in 7v7s. And then Michael Pratt and Spencer Rattler were doing it a bit on the other side. And it's just like, you're not even giving this talented group of wide receivers a chance to make a play on the ball. You got to at least put it up because the wide receivers there were skilled. Absolutely.
So Will had started getting into it, and you're getting into it now as well. So, chat, go ahead and put in the chat any questions that you might have about the Senior Bowl or any questions you might have for Swift or Will, and I'll do my best to get them, to put them on the screen, or at least alert the guys that they're being asked. But look, we're going to start off with this one because it helps us get into, the risers, the fallers, our favorite players that we're looking for before we got down there, studs and duds, etc. So we'll kick this off. Will, outside of the Senior Bowl game, when you were practically holding a clipboard, that's how close you were. One of your pictures with Cam Kitchens looked like he just came off the field taking his helmet off. What was your most memorable moment of the Senior Bowl and or the Shrine Bowl, since you went to both?
Well, really from both of them, just having an opportunity to talk with these guys. We know their statistics, we know their measurables, we know the intangibles, but to hear their backgrounds and their whys of why they're wanting to strive and be successful at the next level. Like, to me, just to hear that, they want to create a legacy for their families, things of that magnitude. To me, that stood out more than anything, because a lot of them, they weren't taking it lightly. They didn't take it for granted. And it really was an opportunity, again, to showcase their talents on a national scale. Because, let's be honest, if you didn't follow a particular team in college, you wouldn't have seen a lot of these guys until we got to this centralized point of the Shrine Bowl or at the Senior Bowl, because when I'm talking to a Jordan Travis, but we're talking more so about, where he feels like it's his fault what happened, with Florida State, not really, getting the opportunity to participate in the chat. Like, and I told him, I'm like, look, that had nothing to do with you. Like, injuries happen all the time. So, thank God that you'll be able to play here shortly. So, just focus on your future. So to me, that's the most memorable moment, just talking to these guys, because, hey, they're kids at the end of the day. They're football players, but we got to understand they're kids. A lot of them, emotionally, mentally have been through a lot. So when you get the true background, that's why I said the way we did it and we made it about them, it was a beautiful thing. And I think that's why they were so receptive, to interact with us on the camera, off the camera, following us on social media, asking certain questions, how to handle different, situations. Whereas with most people, like we were stating earlier, like when they was asking questions, they were so cookie cuttered or, just unrelated to the person, to where you can tell they were like, man, look, hurry up and get done asking what you ask so I can go or go to another interviewer. So I think that's the best part, the most memorable moment, being at both, being able to develop these relationships with these guys and watch them grow and elevate to the next level.
Yeah. I'll go ahead and go, then we'll leave it with Swift because he had a lot of positive interactions on the field. I was doing my thing, trying to get my video content on, get my photography practice or whatnot on. And for me, my favorite moment, my best moment probably was, and this ain't just because the guys are here, was when we all connected, when me, Will, and Swift connected, because I don't think you guys know, but that was all of our first time meeting each other. So we did all of this over social media over the last maybe month and a half, whether we, coming up with the design of the logo, the plan for, whose StreamYard we're going to use, how we going to do this, how we going to do that, how we going to do that. And that's the reason why we'll keep saying and speaking on the fact that we've created such a great thing without the ability to be right there. I'm in Chicago or Downers Grove. Swift is in Sin City, Cincinnati, and Will is down there in Texas and in Dallas or whatnot. And we all got different businesses. We all are self-employed, but we ain't got time for nothing that's tomfoolery or BS. So for us to really connect and then really make that move to say, yo, our first official meeting should be down in Mobile, and let's get it cracking. Let's get to work. Let's get this network going. That was by far my favorite moment, is connecting. And then from that connection, like with Will coming, and surprising me, the first moment he got over and he finally came over to join us, he hit kind of surprised me and kind of tackled me. And I was like, I'm from Chicago. Don't you don't want to do that. But he's like, what up, dog? Man, we dapped up, brung it in, and then it went from, man, what's up, man? It's great to meet you, great to catch up. What we finna do next? Who gonna be the first interview? like we went straight into business mode, but in a good, positive, networking way where we were just vibing. Like, I got this, dog. Hey, I see a spot over here. Let's roll over here. We rolling over there. And nobody's arguing. Nobody's saying, nah, this is what we gonna do. Nah, this is what we gonna do. Like, it was just a blessing to meet these guys and then meet other people with these guys, so people can see us moving as a unit, and people really saying, hey man, we got to work with y'all. We got to see y'all, whether it was, like Will said, whether it was the players, Clay Harbor when we interviewed him. And I think one of my favorite laughter moments probably was when we interviewed Clay, and Swift had been complaining about the sun. I think his girl is in here. I keep calling her his wife because that's what she gonna be. But Clay was like, Clay was sitting down in the interview and he said something about the weather, and Swift was like, yeah, man, it's hot. My face is red. He was like, He's like, man, big dog, me and John, me and Bill, we ain't got to worry about that. And I was like, yeah, we got the melanin. And it just was just like a pow, like he could have took offense to it. You know, Clay could have thought it was awkward, anything. Like everything just hit right. Like all 3 days we were down there, you know, Will was down there forever in a day, but you know, he got to kick it. But that was my favorite moment. And you know what I'm saying? I'd like to hear what Swift, what, so many moments.
When I saw the question, I was like, dang, that's good. What do I say to that? I was like, there's so many. I could choose what you said, like meeting up with you, linking up with Will, linking up with so many people down there was probably the highlight of it. But I mean, to me, I was starstruck by the players. Like, I'm meeting some of those players. To me, like a lot of guys might not even have knew who they were, like when they went down there. Oh, I see my cat in the background. Hey, Lacey. But I'm starstruck. Like when I went up to Malachi Corley, even Javon Baker, Brendan Rice, like these are guys I've watched on TV for 2-3 years, you know. But the big ones to me, like Jackson Powers Johnson, the way he brought up pancakes, like, and pancakes are kind of a thing on my show, and he was my favorite prospect. Like
pancakes.
I didn't tell Bill about a lot of prospects because I was overwhelmed. Like I meant to. But right when we got there, I told Bill, I pointed out JPJ, and I was like, that guy right there. I was like, you see him? Big old shiny helmet. I was like, that guy we're watching for, that's the best center in the draft. That's Jackson Powers Johnson. And Bill took a ton of pictures of him, and I watched every snap he took while I was down there. The first time, I actually had an interview with him before that, but I was so nervous, I must have hit the record button twice, and I didn't get it recorded. Vil had part of it recorded, but it didn't come through all the way. And I was so disappointed after the first day. I was like, man, I got to record with my favorite guy, and I'm back in the car looking for the interview, and I'm like, all I have is me walking away, and like the phone is facing down on the ground at my feet, and I'm like, no, this isn't it. What is this? This is afterwards. No. So then I was able to talk to him again. He brought up pancakes. He was like, I like cake. He said he'd love to play for the Bears. He gave me a bear down, baby. Like he had so much swagger. And like, I was like, that guy I would love to have in Chicago. Like everything about it was like perfect. Meeting him was awesome. But everything about being down there though, like the first time going on the field, I think that was really special for me. It was my first time ever having media credentials or anything like that. And I didn't know what the heck I was doing. They had us after the first day, they had it organized and we just went down this little ramp. But the first day they had us leave the stadium, go around to the north parking lot, and there's like 6 semi trucks there, and they're on and they're loud. And there's this one little fence gate with 3 security guards by it and like 50 media guys just standing in the parking lot waiting there. And I somehow like weaseled my way to the front, threw away my drink. I told him I had like a sweet tea. So I chugged it real quick and I went to the front and I was like, can I throw this away? Threw it away. And then I got in the front, and then Vil's taking pictures of me like in front of the media. He's like, there's Swift leading the media. I'm ready to get out there on the field. But that was special. I like touched the grass when I went out there and like kind of just stood there and took it in for a minute. When you first walk in, like you're in the corner of the end zone. I look down at the pylon and I'm like, let's go, baby. We're on the field. Let's go. Like it was a great time.
Yeah. Speaking of JPJ, we both had that same moment when Swift went down to find him, because that was our priority for that day. So he was like, boom, priority day one. Me and Swift been talking about us trying to get a center since draft season last year. So we like, boom, we set up the cameras, staked down right behind them during the drills and everything. I video recorded, I took pictures and everything. So he gets down there. So I try to take the opposite angle from above in the stands. And so he's coming over for me, and I'm already recording him being Swift, go around the crowd, and I lose him. And then all of a sudden, as I'm angling trying to find him, JPJ pops up out the crowd coming my way. So I'm like, hey, JPJ. First question I can think of is like, would you like to be a bear? He's like, hell yeah, and points at me. And I'm like, shit, I got it. What? We lit. Look down at my camera. All I got was him walking this way and looking, and then that's it. And then it comes back again. So I feel Swift, like we both had that trigger finger where it was nervous, like, oh, we got to get it. But it was a blast, you know what I'm saying? We definitely did our thing that day one, getting as much JPJ as possible. And that actually brings up a good question. I'm trying to make sure we get to people's questions right now. So Cliff Victoria asks, which player do you want the Bears to draft the most? And I'll say out of the Senior Bowl guys, I think it would have to be JPJ for me. And I'll leave Swift and Will because they have more in-depth interviews than I did. But it's JPJ for me because whoever's going to be quarterback next year, and we're all team built around Fields, so we're putting that, we standing on business on that. But
and I think Doug's winning. He's asked a little bit more about it as well, about because JPJ is the guy. I mean, there was a lot of great players there, but he stood out in interviews on the field. He came in at 335 pounds, and I was like, can he move though? Because he was dominating people one-on-one, and then I see him moving, getting out on screens, pulling, running with these 300-pound, 280 guys, and I'm like, he's the real deal. He's going to go in the first round. So I think in order to get a guy like JPJ, we'd have to trade down from number 9. I think the range for him is going to be somewhere between number 15 and 28 or 29. Yeah, JPJ, Jackson Powers Johnson from Oregon, but he's going in the first round. I'd love to have him. If I had to mention a guy outside of JPJ, Darius Robinson, the defensive lineman from Missouri, absolute monster. The guy Will interviewed and I interviewed. We double interviewed this guy, Cam Kinchins. He's talked about him a little bit. That guy's just a confident leader and a guy who could take Eddie Jackson's spot. If he's there in the second round, which I think he can, I think he's a first round prospect, but he's a guy, if he falls the second round, I'm on it. And then tons of wide receiver prospects there, like Malachi Corley. If we can get Javon Baker late, I'm all over it. Any one of those route or the slot guys, Luke McCaffrey, Lad McConkey, Ricky Pearsall. I do think he's better than Tyler Linderbaum, or right there with Tyler Linderbaum, better than John Michael Schmidt last year for sure, Bear. And those are my guys. There's more all over the place, but I mean, those are the guys that really stood out to me.
Yeah, for sure. Will?
Well, and to add on to that, like some late gems, you know, I'm a Florida State guy. Fish, he had a good at the 3 tech. You know, I know we got Javon Dexter, but we still need one more. So Jones through free agency, I think Fish would be a great fit because he has a motor that's just nonstop.
And he was the first ever guy traded at the Senior Bowl. He went to the other team and came through one of the biggest plays. Yeah, it was a good story.
And Jaheim Bell, you know, he'll be a good U tight end for us. You know, like you can use him in so many. He'd be like an Army Swiss knife, you know, on the field that we could probably get in the 4th round as well. And he's out of Florida State. And I like Marshawn Lord. He got a little twitch with it. Running back from USC.
He caught the ball so well out of the backfield.
Oh my God, yes. I'm talking about effortlessly. So those, to me, that's and let's not forget Xavier Legette. You know, Legette will be a steal too. You know, 2nd, 3rd round because he's the prototypical. He said he can play the X or the Y. He understands the full route tree. And I said, can you return punts? He said, man, look, I can do whatever you need me to do. He said, like when I hear kids talk like that, and he's from South Carolina, so I know the thought process coming from that region of the country. Like you add those type of individuals on our team, whether it be as a starter or as depth to come in and provide competition. Like, hey, Ryan Poles, I'm saying it early. He'll be a front runner for exec of the year because those would be some deals like old Brad Holmes made for Detroit. And I saw that he just went off on the media when he was like, "Oh, y'all laugh when we made that pick and that pick and that pick." See, now going to these different bowls, you see the bigger picture and understanding the needs and the value of what we need. Okay, yeah, we want Marvin Harrison Jr. We want Newton from Illinois. But at the end of the day, if you could trade down, acquire more picks, and get more value, like it's so much value probably through the first 4 rounds. Like you said, Cam Kitchens, but even the safety from Georgia.
Javon Bullard. Yeah, I talked to him too. That guy is extremely confident. I missed one. I got to mention another guy because there's one guy who I think if we stay at pick 9, he's actually a really good possibility. And his guy I talked to as well, Talise Fuaga. They call him Tali. He was the best
Oregon State.
Yeah, he was the best offensive lineman there, even better than JPJ. But he plays tackle. But he also says he could play guard. He could play anywhere on the line. Yeah, he could play left out. Yeah, he could play left out. I would like him at left guard. I'd put him right there next to Braxton Jones. And that way, if something happens with Braxton or Braxton doesn't end up developing the way you picture him or he gets hurt,
you push him outside.
You have Tali step over and play left tackle. But he also said he'd love to come in and play next to Darnell Wright as well. But I'd move Tevin back over there, though, and keep him on the left side. But, hey, he's a guy who just physically dominated. And he showed that he could pass block as well, and he has the athleticism. I think he's a top 10 pick, and he wasn't that heading down to Mobile. He was a first-round pick, but I think a lot of people had him late first round. They questioned his athleticism and pass blocking, and, man, he's a guy who made some money down there for sure. And I love Fuaga for sure.
He put 2 in the dirt. I was sold in.
Mm-hmm. I got a good question for you guys. And then we'll get to, I see this question. It's a pretty good question. I don't know if we touched on it, but it was a comparison. But my question real quick, any fallers? Any people that slid down your boards?
Yeah. I'll mention it because someone was talking about it in the chat before I forget about it. But I think it was Doug. He might have asked. Someone asked about Johnny Wilson. And he was a guy heading down to the Senior Bowl. I had Johnny Wilson listed on a lot of my, hey, this is a guy you got to watch out for. I want to see what he does against the top competition. Day 1, he was bad. He just didn't get any separation. He dropped a couple passes. And then day 2 and day 3, they didn't move him specifically to tight end. It wasn't like a full move to tight end. He still played wide receiver in the team drills and everything. But when they did one-on-ones, he was no longer going up against cornerbacks. They had him with the tight ends running against safeties and linebackers. So that was noticeable to me. Like, hey, this is a guy who came down here to prove what a good wide receiver he is. And he was so, I don't want to say bad, but just incomplete performance the first day that instead of bouncing back day 2, he was running against tight ends and safeties. And to me, that told me the coaches kind of were like, well, let's see what this guy looks at tight end. And that's not a good look. So to me, Johnny Wilson definitely is a guy who fell down boards. I still like him. He had a couple reps where his strides are so long. His like he takes a step. It's like 5-6 feet. And he can make up so much ground. Like on a slant, there were times when he'd burn right by the guy and get wide open. And he's so that frame, he could just snatch the ball out of the air. It was just inconsistent. So yeah, like Bear said, he's probably a late 5th round guy or lower now, which I'd take a chance on down there. And then the quarterbacks as a whole. Quarterbacks were just down because they didn't play, but I don't really want to talk about them too much. I'd say the guy who missed out would have been the other centers. Now, Zach Frazier was hurt, so all he could do was do the interviews and a little bit of position drills. So he missed out because JPJ looked so good. And then the Georgia center, Cedric Von Prawn, who coming into it, it was kind of a 3-way battle. Which one of those guys is the best center? And now it's not really a battle anymore. It's JPJ. And it's nothing that Cedric Von Prawn did, but not showing up, I believe it hurt his draft stock just because of how good Jackson Powers Johnson was. He separated himself as the best center in the class.
Yeah, Ted Walker from North Carolina, wide receiver.
Another
his stock, man, look, went straight down. Like I was expecting him to just really shine. And a lot of it could have been attributed to poor quarterback play that we witnessed and saw.
He did everything but catch the ball. Like he could run,
correct.
He could get open, but he
Correct.
couldn't catch anything.
He couldn't catch a cold buck naked in the North Pole. So I was like, come on, man. Come on now. Like we got sold a false bill of goods on this guy. I had high expectations for him.
He was a guy to watch for me too, yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody else disappointed you, Will, or just him?
Yeah.
Essentially, it was him. And like you said, the center, because I wanted to see Zach, and he didn't. He was in uniform, but he was just doing interviews. But I really wanted to see that three-way battle, as you stated earlier. But hey, hands down, right now, unless both of those guys have exceptional pro days and do very well at the combine, man, look, JPJ is light years in the lead right now. And like you said, he's probably looking at mid 15 to about 25. I really can see one of those playoff teams, unless one of these non-playoff teams, spend some draft capital to come back up and get him, or drop down to get him. But
I think the Bengals are a good fit at 19. So if we want him, we got to be before that.
Correct. And I think with us being at 9, if we drop down after we get this haul from Washington, and hopefully either after Washington we get another haul either from New England, I think we have the capital to drop down, negotiate early second round, not only to get a JPJ, but also, like, even though T'Vondre Sweat didn't play, I was impressed with his size. And then in practice, man, number 55, oh my God. When I tell you, he crushed him, whoever 55 was, in that one-on-one drill. Like the dude anchor was just yanked away from up under him. Cause Sweat used brute.
Oh, that was Bo Limmer. Yeah, Bo Limmer got him back once, but yeah, he dominated Bo on that rep.
Yeah, for sure.
I remember that one. That was Bo Limmer's the Arkansas center. He had a pretty good week, I'd say, but he did get dominated. It's the one that was going around social media. Like T'Vondre Sweat straight got him, and he battled back and had some good reps. So I was actually a little impressed with Bo Limmer, though. He had a good week. Probably my fourth center right now after Frazier and Van Pran.
Anyone of you guys want to attack this question from Immortal?
I told him both. Like both of those. I mean, I think probably honestly better situation would be if we ended up taking Fuaga at number 9, and if we could still get a center like Zach Frazier or Van Pran in the second round, or maybe early third. Probably the best case scenario. But man, hey, if we could somehow land both of those guys, I don't know if one of them felt as if JPJ could fall the second round, maybe people are like, hey, he's too big and we don't want him.
No, that'll be great, because I don't see any of our current interior linemen, Whitehair, Feeney, and Lucas coming back. So to have the versatility that those guys have, even if we sign Connor from Miami, I think we still should draft a young center that we can groom to transition, from Connor or whatever. I just feel like we're going to get a center in free agency that can come in and provide stability to the line. But if we can add a JPJ, guess what? I think JPJ can have versatility to play left guard or right guard as well, because
I think he's also good enough. I think him and potentially Zach Frazier could come in and be day one starters at center, and it's a position we need to get fixed this year. And I think we're all tired of talking about it. Oh
yeah, hands down. Because like I said, if we get that interior fixed and give Justin time to really step back and not have someone sitting in his lap, you might be able to plug all of us at wide receiver 2, 3, and 4 and give him the time needed to go through his progressions and look way better than he has the last couple of years, because of the lack of having an adequate center. And let's be honest, I love Tevin Jenkins, but we got to have an insurance policy for him as well.
Yep.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, Bear said it right there. JPJ is probably the closest interior lineman he's seen since Quentin Nelson. And I'd throw Fuaga. If you count Fuaga as an interior lineman and not a guard, same thing. He's probably better. I think either one could potentially be worth the top 10 pick. But since Quentin is since JPJ is mostly seen as a center. He probably goes after pick 15.
Yeah. I had one of Doug's comments. He was speaking on, I think, AJ Barner, the tight end from Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
I had a chance to kind of keep an eye on him later on in the first practice of day 3, right before we left. I had the pleasure of sitting by a family. A father brought his sons. One of his sons had to work, he was telling me, but one of the kids were like, "Hey, AJ, hey, AJ." They were Michigan fans, had all the hats on, but we were watching him go through, 7-on-7s and 1-on-1 drills and going through the motions with quarterbacks and things. And he does have good hands. Doug, it looks pretty solid. He kind of gave me the vibes of a Cole Kmet. We weren't really able to see him block that at that point in time during that drill, during that practice session. But, he's a big guy, runs pretty fluid, doesn't look like he's stiff in the hips, pause. But his hands were solid, like through the whole practice. So I agree with you on that, Doug.
He's a late round tight end I like. Yeah, if you're looking at a tight end in the late round, Barner's the guy. Him and Cade Stover from Ohio State, I'd take either one. Come in and back up Cole Kmet.
Yeah, and he's a good dude. As soon as the kid called him, he was like, "Hold on," He came, went back, did his rep, caught the ball, looked over, went around the coaches, threw the ball to the ball boy, came all the way back, and kind of like was looking back like, "Is anybody gonna get me? Anybody gonna get me?" And then he went over, got the ball, signed the ball for the kids. Kid asked for gloves, tossed the gloves, went and got him another pair of gloves. So he's a good guy. It was good to see that. That happened quite often. We even seen the was it a DB from
corner from Oregon? I think Kari Jackson. Yeah, Jackson. He gave his gloves to some kids right in front of us too. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was able to take pictures. I'm a family man. Got kids, got tons of them. We got the Brady bunch over here, but just being able to take those pictures and send them to. I was like, told the fathers, "Hey, let me see your phone, set up their AirDrop," and I would just AirDrop them pictures or whatnot. And they were like, "Man, thank you. I didn't even think about that. Oh my God, that moment would have been lost and all that stuff like that." So that's another one of my favorite moments, I guess, and ties that into some of my favorite players that I've seen down there. Let me see here.
It's too many.
I know, right? Trying to catch up on questions. Ton of minutes. Swift, let me know if you see anything.
I'm looking. Baralissimo mentioned the Washington right tackle. I thought he looked better than I expected, but nothing too great. I still think he's probably a day 2 guy. I love Fuaga. I see some people mentioning Fuaga, though. I mean, that guy's a beast. Did you get a chance to talk to him at all, Will?
I talked to him and his family in the hotel. They were eating some chicken wings, and I'm like, I told his father, I'm like, "Well, what y'all fed this boy growing up?" And again, we were just having a good time, laughing. Mama, auntie, brothers, like when I tell you it was a bunch of chicken wings on the table. It was a bunch of chicken wings on the table. But we just had a good time, and I just told him, stay level-headed, stay humble, because as of right now, he is projected to be a top 10 pick, and like if he shines on his pro day and kills the combine, man, look, I'm telling you, this kid, even though he's a right tackle, I can see him play. I can see if we draft him, which I'm thoroughly impressed, I can see him going to left tackle and possibly, like you say, left guard if we want to push Tevin next to Darnell and then make Nate Davis.
It's kind of what the Cowboys did with Tyler Davis. They that's not his last name. I don't remember, but whatever his name is, first round. But Tyler Smith 2 years ago, they drafted him to play left tackle, but they played him at left guard because they got a left tackle already. He gets hurt, they move him over to left tackle. Boom, boom, just like that.
And I'm interested in seeing what where they project Tyler Guyton from Oklahoma. He's like 6'7", 340 pounds, nifty feet. Like he's one under the radar that many aren't talking about that I can see him being a third or fourth round value pick that could come in and be a good swing tackle if if we decide to go edge with that second pick in the first round.
Yeah, I think Bear said it. He's probably round 2. He was so good at the combine too, and his length. I think his length and athleticism are so much. I think he's one of the few guys I've seen with longer arms than Braxton Jones in the last few years. So he's a guy and he played well as well. He said he'd play anywhere. He said he'd play tackle. He'd play guard. He wants to play tackle. He seemed hungry and ready to go. So Guyton was a guy I wasn't as high on heading into the event, but he had a good week. I think he's a guy probably that pushed himself out of the Bears range. I don't see us taking a right tackle in that range. So
I don't either. I see Muck the general asking about Cam Kitchen. Like, look, I think all of us are really high on Cam Kitchens. Like, I think if we can get him early in the second round.
Yeah, I think Kitchens is probably a guy who should be a first rounder, but he's a guy because he didn't really stand out, and I was happy about it. He didn't stand out. He didn't make any, he wanted to make a big play in the game. He didn't. So he's a guy I could see in such a talented draft, especially at other positions like receiver and offensive tackle and defensive end. I could see a safety like Cam Kitchens falling somewhere around 2. And if that happens, hey, let me give me some Cam Kitchens.
Yeah, because look, he could be this year's Brian Branch. And I wanted Brian Branch last year, and he ended up being a steal for Detroit. Because the one thing I noticed about Cam, his physicality. And as a safety, I love me some Bojack, but we all know Bojack don't like contact.
But his days are limited. I think he might have another year left, but Eddie Jackson's not going to be here that much longer, so we need to be looking for a replacement in the secondary.
Oh, you think he got another year left where?
Here. I think he could get cut this year, but I think if we don't end up getting a Cam Kitchens or having a viable replacement on hand, I don't think we're going to cut him because we just won't save that much money. It's probably not worth it.
I think I saw like 12, 14 million last time
I've seen that too. But
so look,
I don't know. Whatever. If it's that, EJ,
you got to have someone to play it though. You can't have a giant hole in the middle of this secondary that's so talented. So if you don't have a free safety, or we don't draft one or sign one, then they're gonna pay Eddie for one more year. I'd say right now it's about 35-40% chance he stays. Probably 60% chance or more chance he's gone. And he's a leader in the locker room.
Mm-hmm.
It depends on what they do. There's so many options this offseason. I think people are a little too quick in writing Eddie off. So I got to play devil's advocate a little bit there. That I do think there's a chance he stays. I don't think it's not like Cody Whitehair where we all know he's gone. Like Cody Whitehair ain't coming back. Eddie Jackson probably won't come back, but there's a chance. It's not written in stone like Cody Whitehair is. That's all I'm saying.
I think we got a better chance of hitting the Powerball than Eddie coming back. I'm just
damn. Hey, real quick, Shine. Let me give him a shine on a little bit. Appreciate you, Barlissimo. I appreciate your boss. You know what I'm saying? Ross special. Ross. Hey, you can always find some good Bears stuff at Ross. On the low, $20, 25, 30, 39, all type of stuff. But to talk about the Eddie Jackson thing, I've seen that as well, with Cody Whitehair being cut as well as Bojack, it can open up about 15 to 20, 25 million combined with the two at the most. But I also do agree with Swift, if we don't put a adequate replacement, if we don't find somebody in free agency or hire in the draft, that's not a project that we have to wait a year or two down the line. I think you bring them back. You don't cut them. But the way the secondary
structure his deal, I think that's something people leave out there. He can agree to a big pay cut.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And the way the secondary was balling out, you can't. He had his woes, he had his misses. Missed tackles, lack of effort in tackles or in the secondary, getting burnt and things of that nature. I kind of go ahead.
I said in injuries. He's
I was
starting
just
to
going
get
to say that.
Yeah.
I was thinking that maybe he was taking a while to get back. He's a little older, a little long in the tooth. So maybe, coming off, he was a Pro Bowl caliber player last year, not this past season, but the one before. And he got hurt. And it's kind of tough. I mean, I'm 40, about to be 42 in May. See, I almost forgot my own birthday. That's how old I am. And when I do remember my 30s, it seemed like a long time ago, but my knees started cracking, my back started doing some things, and and sometimes it's a little harder once that 3-0 pop and you start getting over that. So yes, he's a professional athlete, but sometimes age does catch up with the best of them. Not everybody has the same DNA. Not everybody is LeBron and can pay for juices and berries overseas type of thing, and to cure ailments and to keep himself going. So maybe you bring him back and still draft. I still would draft a guy because you got to have a future. You got to have a future replacement. And Kitchens, if it's Kitchens, bring him on. And keep Eddie, let him take his time, and then if 4 or 5 games in Eddie ain't looking like Eddie, then you can go ahead and toss him in the fire.
Hey man, if Cam Kitchens comes out and looks like he's a day one starter and Eddie's still struggling, or maybe he re-injures that foot a little bit, hey, time to go, dog. It's time to move on. There's another thing to look out for with Cam too, is he was a teammate of Tyreek Stevenson.
Oh yeah, we talked about that.
You're reuniting that guy too.
Yeah. So, Or free agency. You got Winfield, you got Geno Stone from Baltimore, 2 physical down in the box free safeties that can also play the pass as well. So we're going to have flexibility, I think, and the money that we gain from Eddie and from Cody, man, that's money, because I think we're going to end up right now putting Jalen Johnson on the tag and then just work out his deal long term. So, you're freeing up money.
You're getting paid one way or another for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's a done deal. But I'm hearing rumblings too that Brian Burns, he don't want to be tagged. He want up out of there. Danielle Hunter don't want to be tagged.
I don't see the thing about the defensive end. I don't see polls after paying Montez Sweat. I don't think we're signing another big time free agent defensive end. I think we're going to draft one. So that's why I've been looking at edges a lot. I think Poles likes to balance the roster out. He likes to draft positions and then pay positions. But someone else just mentioned, Foster just mentioned Tyler Nubin, another safety from Minnesota, plays both safety positions. And just like the combination me and Will were talking about where Cam Kitchens and Tyreek Stevenson played together, we drafted a Minnesota corner last year. We got Terrell Smith. So throwing Tyler Nubin in there, that's another good fit. And Foster made a great joke there that I got to mention, man. He was mentioning us getting old there, Vil. He said, I remember that in the 1930s. Foster, boy. Dang, man.
Man, we need if you haven't seen Foster, he looked like Zaddy Claus walking around here with the all white beard, the low cut all white beard. You couldn't tell. He old, but you just don't know how old.
He says things like that, and you're like, man, is he serious?
Right. Then you start calculating, start using your fingers like, dang.
And that question that Bellissimo just asked about Darius Robinson, I think he could play up and down like 3-tech.
Anywhere.
He could play anywhere up along the line. And
he was the most impressive guy on defense.
Oh, my God.
Go ahead, yeah.
He was huge.
What? Someone's phone ringing. I hear vibrating.
You hear vibrating?
Yes.
You don't hear that?
Look like he was playing Hollywood Squares.
Hey! Is your phone vibrating up there, Vil?
It ain't my phone. That's Will, the only one that be making noises over there.
Yeah, hey, Will, I should have known it was Will. Will, who's calling you right now, man?
Hey, I'm just saying, boy, it's crazy. Look,
business is calling.
Look, you already know it. Hey, it's always somebody calling. That's all I can tell you.
He could have just put it on silent. He knew he was going on, but he just like, Now I got to make sure I can see the
He's
business.
too important. Yeah, he's like, I gotta let people know that I got people calling me right now.
Man,
Hey,
come
but
on.
hey,
The
but
boy
to
got a
tell Bear,
rose. He got a rose over there under the table.
hey, Bear, we love Darius Robinson though, man. I interviewed him.
Sure.
He's a freak in nature. He could play literally anywhere on the defensive line. That's a guy who'd be perfect at defensive end, could come in and play 3-tech as well. And he said it. He just wants to get on the field and play. He could play anywhere on the D line. He doesn't care. He's ready to get after quarterbacks. And if it wasn't for JPJ, he was the most impressive guy down there at the entire Senior Bowl. He's going in the first round for sure. I know PFF mocks. I did a mock the other day, and I was like, how can I do mock drafts when they got Darius Robinson in round 5? I'm like, that's just cheating. I can't do this. Like, that guy's going in round 1. He's an absolute animal. Like, he's a monster. So we love him.
Hey, Bellissimo said that's your side piece calling.
Look, tell bro, listen, bro, that's that call coming from across the pond.
He can hear you, Will.
Right.
He said, "Hey, Bill, hey, tell Bellissimo, tell him."
Hey, Will is our foster. He's older cat. He's smooth in person, but this technology he ain't got it yet. We helping him get there.
Yeah, Foster or anybody who watches BCP. This is our Foster up here, right here.
Right.
That's Will. That's Foster. We're gonna have him grow a playoff beard next year.
Right. I remember that we made a joke. Swift texted a joke like, "Hey, make sure you hear more than 5 minutes before the show." The last show we recorded a few weeks ago, he was like 20 minutes late, but that
was a live show. Yeah,
he was actually set up 30 minutes beforehand, but couldn't get on. He's like, "Man, my Wi-Fi or something is going on. So what's going on with this link?" Like, we like, "Bro, you in Dallas? we can't get down there, Mike."
Hey, Will laughing, but he over there like, keep talking shit, man.
Hey, but he got his mic game tight today. Like he showed me his mic beforehand. He was like, "Original." I was like, you don't have to hold it up here, bro.
That's right.
Hey, look, we love everybody.
I'm doing something that Luke Gessie never did. I made an in-game adjustment.
That man got a job. Oh my god!
Put a Mike Tomlin gif over my face. That one where he.
Hey, my thing is, look, and I am happy for him, but how does he have a job and Eric Bieniemy doesn't?
Man,
that's true. Hey, Washington did him dirty. That's why they didn't let him go. The team should have waited.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Eric Bieniemy, a free agent right now. He could still get a job though. We'll see. Man,
I don't know, man. The tea leaves I'm hearing.
These some tea leaves right here. Where this come from? I'm sorry.
The sidekick ain't calling, keep watching, y'all. Oh shit!
Kelly, are you trying to tell us something? Should we send her a link and bring her on?
Take my spot. We're gonna get in trouble in here.
He the only bachelor on here.
Yeah.
That's right. Hey, I'm a free agent. Oh, somebody just texted me. They say Eric Bieniemy.
He's a free agent that's visiting 14 teams though.
Right. He's on the free agent tour.
Hey, somebody just texted me. They say Eric Bieniemy don't have a job because he got a criminal record.
Oh,
did y'all know that?
Nah, I didn't
I
heard something about it, but we'll see. Hey, everyone in the chat. Hey, we appreciate you guys. We love y'all. Let us know in the comments, especially if you're watching this after we do go live. Let us know what kind of videos you want. This was one of us just kind of getting back together after the Senior Bowl. We had all just met. We told that story. We got to share some special stuff with you, but we're down to talk draft. We're down to talk Bears. Let us know what you guys want to see. We're going to try to do at least one show a week. We'll try to figure out when we'll do that, but we're still figuring things out. We're still in the infancy stage here, but I appreciate everybody who watched. Like, special shout out to all you guys in the chat, even Bellissimo coming on here. Great guys out there in the chat, except Foster. That's Santa Claus.
Yeah, he'll be here forever. Hey, yeah, for sure. Definitely want to shout out everybody that follows all of us individually. You know, me over at 3 Point Stands Podcast, Swift over at Swifty Sports Network or Swift Sports Network, Will Wright 06 over there on Twitter doing this thing. You know, we all came together to try to bring a conglomerate that brings nothing but facts. Y'all already know who comes with the knowledge over narrative. That's Swift. So we all came together to back him up. Will wanted to do something, and they called me and they was like, "Hey, bro, you like to talk a lot. You want to join us? You want to host?" And I'm like, "I'm down." So we hope to bring you all the best of content, Bears content and beyond. The best updates, but only facts. We don't deal in rumors or anything like that. And I know we got to get up out of here. We was only supposed to be on here for about 30 minutes or so, but we wanted to give you all as much as possible since we haven't been around in a few weeks. Will, you got any parting words?
I'm reading the chat. Cliff Victoria said you guys should easily be able to bring in a good guest each week. Good 2 guest segment. Yeah, that's the plan.
Yeah, Will's working. Will's the connect guy. He's got so many. Every day he called me. Hey, I got this guy hitting me up wanting to do a show. I got this guy wanting to do a show. You gotta let me know when to do it. Hey, Will's the connect guy. So that's some. I'm not usually into huge making a ton of connections. I'm trying doing that more. I just had Glenn Morgan on a show recently, but Will knows everybody. Will probably knows people in your guys' family that you guys might not even be that familiar with. You go to a cookout and Will be like, "Hey, what's up, man? Hey, yo." He know at least 3 people there. I'm telling you, Will knows people. So we'll have people on. Let us know who you guys want to see us talk to. Right. If there's certain people out there you want to have on the show, Will could probably make it happen. So just let us know.
And we talking about doing mock drafts and things like that, because after the Super Bowl, it's going to be that lull period going into combine, free agency, the draft. So at the end of the day, guess what, guys? We're going to have a good time. You know, we're going to give you some great knowledge, some great information, because we do have some great sources that give us quality information. But at the end of the day, it's not about agendas. It's not about narratives. It's about what's best for the organization as a whole. Period.
Yeah, and we're down to bring on people we disagree with. We want to show that you can have conversations in sports disagreements without getting personal or disliking each other. You could disagree with us all you want, and we'll just talk football with you and back up our thoughts, and you give us your thoughts. That's what it's all about. But yeah, hopefully we might have some NFL Combine stuff coming too. I see Foster in the chat. But we love you guys. Vil, you got any final words?
Nope. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you haven't. Go ahead and check out all of us on Twitter. Y'all already know. If you don't know, ask somebody else in the chat. And if you guys want to collab, if there are people in there like Bellissimo, obviously we all mess with him heavily. He's a highly intelligent football mind. Foster with BCP. Whoever else, if you want to collaborate with us, if you want to,
I was like, don't be throwing that highly intelligent out there with Foster. No, I'm just kidding, Foster. We love you, my man.
And occasionally we might bring a guest on that just pops in the chat, a follower or something like that, just to have some fun and like Doug is saying here, just sitting around shooting the shit. You know, that's what we do. We talk all day. We text each other, we call, and this is what we do. So I appreciate it. We appreciate you all coming on. Go ahead, Swift, kick it off.
I got nothing. Shout out.
I'm just used to your bear down.
Hey, oh yeah, let me give a bear down. Hey, I love everybody. Hang out until next time. We'll bring more content. Let us know what you want to see though, because we're trying to do different stuff on here as well. But we'll have our own special stuff we have coming as well. Stay tuned. And yeah, bear down. I'm out.
For sure.
Or no, we'll go Chicago up, bear down. We out.
Mike,
we'll get that tight next time.
Yeah, we'll figure that out. That's coming. You know, we don't know.
All right. We out.